Hello and welcome to this new podcast called Pilot Light Your Writing with Sophie G. I am Sophie G. I am a screenwriter as well as a screenwriting instructor at University of Normandy. And this podcast is aimed to help you to get your writing done. Use it as a coach. Use it as your weekly coach to keep you going and to finally write the story you've been dreaming to write about. I know so many students that have dreams of writing a story, and when I'm not with them, they don't write it. Time passes by and life gets in the way, and years after they still haven't written their story. However, when I'm with them, when they follow my lessons, when I'm weekly seeing them, they get things done. Of course, there is the urgency because they have to be marked by the end of the semester, and having someone behind your back asking you every week if you've done any progress on your story helps. So I thought, okay, not everyone can follow my lessons in Normandy, so I'd like to put it in practice in this podcast. The first thing I want to tell you, it's a warning. It's a warning about stories that you have in your head. Everybody gets a glimpse of inspiration and they think, oh, this is the story I want to write. And as I said, life goes in a way and it's never get written, or even worse, it's written by someone else. It's not the same story, but very similar. I think the universe likes creativity and creating things, new things. And when the universe gives you an idea, it could be the divine as well. When they give you an idea, the universe expects you to work on it. And if you don't, well, the universe will give the same idea to someone else. And that's why there is this story of Michael Jackson that you must have heard of, where he had a melody or lyrics in the middle of the night, and he would wake up in the middle of the night with that idea, calling his manager saying, write this down, I've got an idea for a song. And his manager would say, Michael, it's 3:00 in the morning, can't it wait? And Michael said, no, because Prince might do it before me. Inspiration is not there to last long. When you have an idea, you need to work on it for two reasons. The first one I've just told you, someone else could do it. The second one is, after a while, when you have the same idea for a lot of years, years, it kind of becomes boring. You don't like the idea anymore, or it becomes old-fashioned. So it's very important you act on your dreams right now. There is an urgency. Because we don't have much time, I'm going to give you small bites and keep your motivation going throughout the whole year, and then you can continue working on your story meanwhile. So I hope you will like this. The other important point that I'd like to make while you're writing your story, it's very important that your story makes you happy. It's very important that you feel, okay, let's be real. It's not easy to decide, okay, I'm going to sit down and write my story. It's never easy. We always have a million things to do. And sometimes writing gets at the bottom of the list. But however, if you put it on top of the list and you do it, one of the first thing in the morning or one of the first thing in the day, I guarantee you will feel fulfilled, happy that you've been working on your dream. And that will help you throughout the day because you will carry that contentment within you and will help you to do the other things. So not only it should be a happy time. Of course, there is the first seconds or minutes when you sit down at your computer or your notebook and you try to write. You will feel like, oh, I don't know if I'm up for it. But once you do it, once you get started and you do it every day, I actually suggest to write 5 minutes a day. That is amazing. It's the best tip I can give you is if you say to yourself, okay, I'm going to write every day, but just for 5 minutes. And it's amazing the things you can do in 5 minutes. Obviously, I learned that trick ages ago, and that helped me to write lots of screenplays on my own or with my writing partner. I used to put the writings at the end of the to-do list, and that wasn't working for me because I was missing writing, and also I was seeing my peers doing a lot of writing. They were publishing books or writing screenplays and going pitching, and I felt like I haven't finished my screenplay, and I felt quite frustrated. So years ago I decided to trick my brain, and I said to my brain, I'm just going to write for 5 minutes a day, just 5 minutes. I never have a routine where it's that I wake up and I do 5 minutes of writing. No, I place it in a day when I can, because sometimes I teach. Well, a lot of the days I teach, I take care of my students, take care of my children, but I put those 5 minutes a day. And for my brain, 5 minutes is manageable. And I trick my brain like that because I'm thinking, oh, okay, 5 minutes, all right. And most of the time, because I get in the flow quite quickly, I learn to get in the flow quite quickly, and I will teach you how to get in the flow quite quickly. Those 5 minutes become more than 5 minutes. They become 10 minutes, 15 minutes, half an hour, 2 hours even. After 2 hours of writing, my brain start to get mushy, and I have to stop. I did more. I remember I had a deadline on a screenplay, and I think I did 6 to 7 hours of writing a day. I think really writing should be a pleasure. And ideas for the next scene or chapter comes bit by bit. So if you do everything at once, it kind of gets completely flat. However, if you work on it 5 minutes a day, your brain is completely tuned to your story and you can finish it. So let's get to work. First thing first, I'd like you to get a really nice notepad for yourself. I like the idea of a notepad where you can scribble on it, and I've got millions of notepads. Each notepad has a project. I would suggest to do that because we're going to do some exercise on it. And this week episode is all about asking the right questions and knowing yourself. Socrates, I believe it's Socrates that said it, know yourself as a rule, a baseline for your life, knowing that obviously we change all the time. So it's not like you're going to know yourself forever. You are going to know yourself now, and then maybe next year you'll be a different person. We change throughout the years, throughout the experiences. So it's about knowing yourself now while you're writing this story. So I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions that you are going to write down and answer, not now, but after this podcast, before you start the story. And why is it important? First, I'd like to say, why is it important to know yourself? Well, because the more you know yourself, the more you're going to express a story that is going to be deep and that is going to be meaningful. And people look for meaning. They really want their life to be meaningful, and when they watch a film or read a book, they want that book or that film to be meaningful for them. Okay, I will explain that in other podcast, but that's what you need to know right now. And if you know yourself, that will allow you to connect with your audience, to connect with people. By knowing yourself, you can project this wisdom that meaning that people are looking for. So that's very important to do this exercise. So I'm going to read you now the questions that you need to be asking yourself. So the first question: what do I like the most in life? What makes you happy? That's the first question. Now it's the opposite. What do you hate the most? And then very often we know what we hate the most when we watch the news, and most of the time the news makes us unhappy, most of the time, and some news terrifies us or makes us more angry than the others. And these are the topics that you hate in life. What do you want? What do you really want in your life? And what are the topics you often think about? There are some topics that you think about more than others, okay? So what are they? What do you love about people? That's an interesting question. What do you like about people? Because we can't live without them somehow. Now, what do you really hate about them? I like this question. What is your vice? We all have vices and addictions. I'm convinced of that. We can talk about it in another podcast, but we all have vices. Sometimes it's really small, and sometimes it could be big. Let's write this down. Next question is: what is the question you ask yourself about life? What is the mystery that you ask yourself about life in general? There must be something that you wonder about. We don't have answers to everything. Anything that you ask yourself about life: how do we succeed? That's a very interesting question to ask yourself, and that will be obviously material for your story. Now, another question, a fun question actually. If you were just a soul without a physical body, what would you wish for yourself? If you were not born, you were in the universe somewhere, you were just a soul thinking, what would you wish for yourself? Another question, this is not easy and it's going to take you time to answer it, but it's really good because that also you can use it in your writing and in your stories. What are the most painful experience that you had so far? And maybe it's more than one. Maybe you had several painful experiences. Write them down. Another question: what are you afraid of? Are you afraid of something? What is it? Another question is: when was the last time you felt truly happy? Like really happy? And following that question, what killed the buzz? What killed the happiness? What happened? What happened that killed that phase where you were truly happy? And now, the last question: what would you like to write about? What would be your dream stories that you would like to be known for? So, okay, it's a lot of questions, and it's gonna take, if you take one question a day and you answer one question every day, that will work. 1 or 2 questions. Some are quicker to answer than others, but it's important you do this exercise, and then again it will come back to that connection with others. You know yourself and you know how to communicate with the others, and you will know how to communicate with your audience. Now I'd like you to think of one thing: is if you had to write this story, well, actually you have to write this story, you have no choice. With me, you have to write this story. If you write this story, in which format will it be? Will it be a screenplay? And if it's a screenplay, will it be what a short film or a feature film? If not a screenplay, will it be a novel? Try to think. Or maybe a play. It could be anything. I'd like you to think. You don't have to decide now, but I'd like you to think which form you prefer. Are you be more at ease to work on? this year. So now we've talked about all this. I'd like you to think about your goal. What will be your goal? I say one goal because if you have too many goals, trust me, it's confusing, it's stressful. So we just take one story at a time for now. However, if your goal is just to do some journaling every week, every day, every week, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. Some people actually publish their journals. And, you know, when you think of Bridget Jones, it's wonderfully written, obviously, but it is a journal. It's written as a journal, and it's highly interesting. Of course, it's fiction, but you know what I mean. So if your aim is just to write a good journal and to be good at journaling, go ahead. Go ahead. I just wanted to tell you now, to warn you now that I'm gonna focus on fictional writing. But as I said, a journal can be transformed into a fictional piece, so why not? However, thinking about journaling while you're writing your fiction, I think it's always good to keep a journal and, write down what's going on in your head and in your life. I think it helps somehow. Mainly because if you have a notepad and you write something with a pen on a piece of paper, it helps your brain to be even more creative. The fingers, the pen, the paper goes straight to your brain, and it activates creativity in your brain, and it's quite important to stay fresh and creative all the time. And journaling, even if like a small paragraph every day, could help your writing. Anyway, my last point for today, and then that will be it. I'd like to talk about confidence. Don't wait to have confidence before you write, because that would be a waste of time. Confidence never comes. Confidence comes after you've written, not before. It's a shame because people tend to wait to have confidence in order before acting, and it's the opposite. You act and then you get confidence. There is no other way around it, unfortunately. I have a student that I've had for a few years now, and he's an amazing actor. He writes, but he also is an amazing actor. I've known it since the beginning. When he's on screen, we only see him. And he's been doing films, I make my students do films, and he's been participating in a lot of films, and he's playing in it, and each time it's a different character, and he plays it so well. And for months and months and months, I said to him, you're such a good actor, you're such a good actor. And in December last year, he came to me and he said, I don't know if I want to be an actor because I don't have confidence. And I thought, that's fine. No one has confidence anyway, so you can go ahead. And he was like, yeah, but no one believes in me apart from you. And that is not true, by the way. I'm not the only one that believes in him at all, because the other students, each time they make a film, they call him to be the lead actor in their film. So if they didn't believe in him, they wouldn't take him, obviously. So when we have ceremonies where we do projections of their films, he's in about 4 or 5 films all the time, and he's absolutely brilliant, and people adore him. So I'm not the only one that believes in him, but no one believes in me. No one has ever believed in me, and that stopped me from doing anything for a very, very long time, until I got so frustrated and my life was not going in the way I wanted. And that's what I had to think hard and decide, or either give up, which would torn my heart, or do it anyway. And also, people are not very good at encouraging other people. I do things, if the people like it, it's brilliant, great, I'm grateful for it. If they don't, I look back and I try to see what I've done wrong so I don't do it again. But there is no way I'm waiting to be confident to do even this podcast or writing anything because I know it won't come. It won't come, and I won't get the encouragement. And sometimes you have to go. You have to let your to let your ego go away and move on and do it anyway. The other thing that people are scared of is to be criticized. Whatever you do, whatever you will do in life, you will be criticized for it. And that's a rule. It's a law. You are gonna be criticized for anything you do, anything you wear, anything you say, whatever. People will criticize you. If you don't do anything, and that's where it's important, you will be also criticized for it. So no matter what you do, you'll be criticized anyway. So I think you shouldn't think about the critics before doing anything, because you are going to have some anyway. There will be always people criticizing what you're doing. And so be it, so be it. That doesn't mean that you need to stop living your life and do what you want to do. So the way I tackle it is, when I do something, I only focus on what I've got to do. You focus only on the task at hand, and that's it. Don't think about the end result. Each time I'm doing something, my end result should be to finish the project. That's it. To finish the project, and then when it's done, to present it and try to sell it, that kind of things. But I'm not thinking of what people could think of me, or of my project, because that would drive me mad. So don't do that. Just focus on the task at hand, and that's it. Go ahead and be creative. And I'll see you next week.